You're listening to
Catholic Sprout,
the daily podcast for Catholic kids that strives to plant seeds of faith.
Greetings, young Squire Sprouts. Today is the 8th day in the 7th month in the year of our Lord 2023. My name is Sir Roland and you're listening to Saturdays with Sir Roland on Catholic Sprouts, where every Saturday we discuss the art of dragon slaying. Today is a great day for dragon slaying. Why, you may ask? Because every day is a great day for dragon slaying. Some of you have written to me, such as 8-year-old Diego from Wichita, Kansas, and ask what I will talk about on the podcast now that I'm done talking about the 7 deadly dragons. Diego is an excellent artist, and he sent me a picture of himself fighting a dragon. It's hanging on my fridge, so I'm so grateful to him and all of you who draw me pictures and send me letters and emails. But to answer Diego's questions, I'll never be done talking about dragons. Now that I've introduced you to the 7 deadly dragons, you're ready for more intense training so you can sprout into great dragon slayers. So today, I would like to begin a discussion with you on 5 steps to winning the battle with the dragon. These steps are based on the book that I helped my Squire John write called Ordinary Lives, Extraordinary Mission, 5 Steps to Winning the War Within. The book is written for your moms and dads mostly, and Squire John wanted me to point out that over 250,000 copies have been distributed across the world. That is a lot of books. Of course, Squire John never mentioned that the books were given away for free, which is the secret to his great success. But I do know of at least 3 people who actually read the book, including myself. And I think the 5 steps are worth sharing with all of you as they are key to dragon slaying. So step number 1 we'll talk about today, which is to win a battle against the dragon, you have to know that you are in a battle against a dragon. This seems like an obvious statement, but unfortunately many people no longer believe in sin. They don't believe in right and wrong. They've fallen prey to a dragon called moral relativism that we briefly mentioned when we were discussing the blue dragon of wrath. The moral relativism dragon says you can decide for yourself what is right and wrong. What is true for you doesn't have to be true for me. Relativism means everything is relative and there is no objective truth. For example, I could say that an elephant is big, but that statement is relative because an elephant may be big compared to you and me, but it is little compared to a blue whale. The size of the elephant is in fact relative to what you compare it to. But if I say an elephant has a trunk and 4 legs, that is objectively true no matter what. You can't say, well, that might be true for you, but for me an elephant has 8 legs and a suitcase. The same lessons can be applied to dragons. I'm not talking about the physical features of a dragon, like the size of its wings or whether or not it breathes fire. I'm talking about whether something is morally right or morally wrong. Some things are neither right nor wrong, such as rooting for the Tampa Bay Rays in baseball. They are, of course, the best team in baseball and my favorite team. But you don't have to root for them if you don't want to. You can root for your favorite team. Just beware that your favorite team will probably lose to my favorite team. But some things are always morally wrong. Listening to dragons is always wrong. I repeat, listening to dragons is always wrong. It is not just wrong for some people and okay for others. It doesn't matter if you like pushing your brother down the stairs, it's always wrong. It doesn't matter if you enjoy stealing your sister's dessert, it's always wrong. God even gave us laws, such as the 10 Commandments, to help avoid certain things that are always wrong. So why do many people say that dragons don't exist and there's no such thing as right and wrong? Well, because of the first dragon in the Garden of Eden. He tempted Adam and Eve to eat the fruit of the tree of knowledge and even knowledge of good and evil because he lied to them and said they would be happier if they didn't have to follow God's rules. They would be happy if they could just decide for themselves what was good and what was evil. Sometimes we think we'll be happy and all get along if we can live by the attitude of, you do whatever you want to do and I'll do whatever I want to do. We think that the best way to maintain peace is just pretend there's no dragons. For example, imagine, if you will, living in a small village with a fire-breathing dragon that is wreaking havoc, eating all the livestock and terrorizing the people, causing sickness, injury, and death. Everybody in the village is trying to figure out what to do, and somebody says, hey, I got an idea. Let's just decide the dragon isn't real. Then it can't hurt us anymore. I'm sure all those livestock just accidentally fell over and died, and those trees burned down because of a lightning strike, and my cat just ran away. It didn't actually get eaten. Sounds pretty silly, doesn't it? Pretending dragons don't exist won't protect you from them. We must come to terms with the fact that we all struggle with sin, and we will always struggle with sin on this side of heaven. That means that sometimes you will desire to do things that are morally wrong. Prepare yourself for battle. There's a couple different dragon slaying maxims that we learned, which can help us with this first step of knowing you're in a battle against a dragon. Number one, some people who live by moral relativism even claim to be at peace and be happy and not bothered by dragons because they no longer believe in them. But remember the maxim. If it seems the dragons aren't attacking, check your pulse. It's probably lacking. Don't be fooled. These people haven't conquered the dragons. They simply stopped being a threat to dragons. They've already been defeated and they're sitting in a prison cell. So of course the dragons just let them sit there in their captivity. Number two, remember the maxim, form your conscience and then use it, lest the dragons make you lose it. We discussed this one when we talked about the violet dragon of lust named Agaba. The Catechism teaches us that one of the effects of original sin is our fallen human nature and our tendency to do things that are morally wrong. This effect is not washed away when we are baptized. So at our baptism, we are summoned to battle. We need a guide, a spiritual North Star, a voice of truth that won't lead us astray. The Catholic Church can help us form our healthy conscience. Our conscience is that little voice inside us that tells us what to do. If we don't properly train that voice with the truth, then you can start believing certain things that are evil are good and things that are good are evil. That is what the dragons want. They want us to have no conscience because our conscience can help us avoid dragons and feel guilt of sin. That brings us to reconciliation and healing. But it's not enough just to form your conscience. You have to use your conscience. When your little brother is standing at the top of the steps and you're tempted to give him a little nudge, your conscience, if properly formed, will start screaming, "Don't do it!" You must actually listen to your conscience and refrain from pushing him down the stairs. To help you form your conscience, I have created for you a new Dragon Slayer's Examination of Conscience based on the 7 deadly dragons, which all of you are now experts in because you are in my training guild. My challenge for you this week is begin examining your conscience regularly to help remind you that you are constantly in a battle against dragons, which is the first step in our 5-step battle strategy. Next week, we will discuss step 2 in winning the battle against dragons. And until next week, I'll leave you under the protection of St. Michael the Great Archangel, St. Joseph the Terror of Dragons, and Mary, Queen of the Angels, Our Lady of Grace, and the woman whose seed crushed the head of the dragon.
That's it for Catholic Sprouts today. We'll be back tomorrow, but until then, continue to grow in your faith and truly sprout into the beautiful creation that God created you to be.
Hey, parents and kids. This week we are sending our new Dragon Slayer's Examination of Conscience based on the 7 deadly dragons to our Training Guild members. And we challenge you to try it out and tell us how you like it. If we hear from you, you will be in our free t-shirt drawing next week. We'll also give a link to the parents for your free copy of Squire John's book, Ordinary Lives, Extraordinary Mission. If you aren't yet a member of our training guild and would like to get all this free stuff, please register for free today at extraordinarymission.com/dragonslayers. And remember, listen to Catholic Sprouts every day, including Saturdays with Sir Roland.
This podcast is part of the Spoke Street Network. For more great podcasts, visit spokestreet.com.